Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in today. Today, you get to experience a little bit of Spirit Club's online virtual platform. My name is Jared. I'm Spirit Club's founder. We started about 9 years ago, and our goal here's our logo here, and our tagline and kind of our mission here is fitness for all, and that is what we really focus on is making different types of healthy lifestyle and exercise classes that are designed and tailored to be as supportive as possible so that any person with any background and ability can have a great time and be comfortable and follow along. And so today we are going to be doing one of the healthy cooking classes, and we are going to be learning how to make banana bread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up our website so you can get a little preview of what it looks like. If you can see the Spirit Club website here, this is where we host all of our classes. You would go to the member access button on the top. You can watch the classes live while we teach them. We teach about 2 classes every day. And here's a little snapshot of the schedule. There's yoga, there's cardio fitness, seated HIIT class, Zumba class, Sam's workout gym, and boxing and meditation and yoga flow, and balance fitness and strength fitness and healthy cooking. This is all every week we teach these 12 classes. And once they're done airing live, if you missed the live class, you could watch the recording on demand. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to check out one of the healthy cooking classes that we put together a couple weeks ago and share it with you all now. The on-demand classes can all be found on this page. You could find the most recent classes on the top of the page, and you could go into the library to find all of the other classes that we've ever taught. So today we are going to do healthy cooking. We're going to go into this category right here, and we are going to go ahead and find our banana bread healthy cooking class. If you haven't already gotten the ingredients, then that's something you'll need to do first. So if you're watching this and you want to do banana bread, make sure you go find the ingredients. You go into this page and you'll click on whatever recipe you want, and here it'll pull up exactly what you need. So you'll see the ingredients that you need to cook. You'll see the directions so you could follow along alongside the video, and it'll tell you anything else that you need, like a bowl or a blender, anything like that. So here is the banana bread ingredients and directions. And once you have this, hopefully if you're watching now, you have this stuff and you're ready to go. And if not, you can know where to find it so that you can know what you need for the class when you are ready. And for those of you who are ready, we're going to dive on in. So you go to the Healthy Cooking Library, and we're going to pull up the banana bread recipe. This class is led by Gabby, and her sous chef is Sydney. And this class, Gabby is a diet and nutrition advisor, and she does a great job teaching recipes that are taste good and also good for your health. So before we get started, I just want to say thank you for joining today. It's awesome to be here with you. We're excited. I'm going to turn it over to Gabby to teach you how to make banana bread, and I'll be right here at the end. If anybody has any questions, you could type them into the chat if you're here with us in Zoom, or you could find us online if you have any follow-up questions as well. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Gabby. By the way, if you're looking for us online, you just go to spiritclub.com, and if you type your messages in there on the bottom of the page, that'll come right to me and to the rest of our wonderful management team. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this class for you, make it full screen. Have fun. I'll be right here with you, and enjoy. I hope you have some great banana bread when you're all done. So have fun, and thank you so much for participating today.
I'll be cooking with you today. Hello everyone, I'm Gaby Ciner, and I'm so excited to do healthy cooking with you today. We are going to make banana bread. This recipe is super delicious. I have made 2 of them now in the past 2 days, and they are getting eaten up by everybody. So I'm really excited to make this with you. There's a lot of different options that we're going to be able to do while we're making this recipe. So I'll show you what I'm going to choose to do, and then I'll also tell you the different options that you have. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by washing our hands, because when we cook, we have like a lot of measuring that we do, and so it's nice to have really clean hands. So everybody take this moment to go and wash. And you're going to sing the ABCs while you wash your hands. In your head, I'm not the greatest singer, so I'm not going to sing it out loud for you. So let me turn. Okay. All right. So keep washing. Wash that wash. Scrub. All right. Now, the most important thing when you're washing your hands is to make sure you're really lathering. The soap's really important. You want to make sure that you're using soap and warm water. But the most important part of the washing is the friction between your hands. You want to make sure you're really rubbing them together to really rub off any germs. So now our hands are nice and clean, so when we do our measuring and we touch the ingredients, we don't have to worry about it. Another good thing that's going to happen is everything's going to go in this oven and get cooked at 350 degrees. That doesn't mean that you still need to practice good hygiene while we're cooking, but also the oven will help us kill off anything that's not so healthy either. So our hands are clean and we're ready to start, and I see a lot of friends are here. Yummy, yummy. Okay, this is gonna be so good. So we have our ingredients here. We have oats, we have whole wheat flour, and this is where you're gonna have options for how you're gonna do it. So we have oats and flour for our flour. We've got bananas, and the recipe said 2 to 3 bananas. I've been using 3 bananas, so I'm going to keep doing the 3 bananas. We have honey, we have cinnamon, and we have oil. So you can use any oil that you want. You can use coconut oil, you can use avocado oil, you can use olive oil. I chose to do olive oil because there's a lot of good health benefits in it, and I don't mind a little bit of an olive oil taste. I've made the banana bread twice in the past 2 days with olive oil, and I didn't taste any olive. You know, I forgot to grab my milk. And we also need milk. So I'm going to be using some almond milk. Okay. And so I've got a bread pan, and in the recipe, you guys can use a muffin tin if you need a muffin tin instead, or a small cake pan if you want to use that instead. I'm using a bread pan because I like the loaf shape that it makes. This is a little brush that I use to kind of spread the oil around the bread pan when we're going to grease it. I've used paper towels before. Your hands are clean, so if you want to use your hands, as long as they're clean, you can use that, but you're going to get really sticky. I'm using a banana masher, but you can also use a fork. I'll show you how you can use a fork to mash the bananas too. And then I have my measuring spoons. You're going to need a ½ teaspoon and a 1 teaspoon measuring spoon. And so a friend of mine just got these really cool teaspoons for me where they're magnetic, so they stick together in the drawer so they're easy to find. Okay, and then we're going to need measuring cups. We're going to need a 1/3 cup, a 1/4 cup, and a 1 cup. So that's a 1/3, a 1/4, and just a 1. We also have a whisk, a spoon, a small bowl for the bananas when we mash them, and a big bowl for everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and put my bananas in the small bowl because that's where they're going to be. And I'm going to move off the bread pan out of the way. Well, first we'll grease our bread pan. So let's walk over to our oven, set it to 325 before we forget. So 325, we're going to bake, 3, 2, 5, and start. Okay, now let's get the things out of the way that isn't really cooking. So what we're going to do is we're going to grease our bread pan, and then we can put it aside and we don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to use just a quick little dash of avocado oil, just a little. You'll see how small it is. If we look for the close-up video, I'll show you. It's just a very tiny little bit. So just go like that, tiny, tiny bit. And then I'm going to take my brush, and I'm going to spread it around. Now, even if you grease it perfectly, you're going to have, actually I do need a little bit more than that. You are going to have a little bit of like crumbs on the side, and that's okay. It's still really easy to clean. Because of the banana in there, it makes the recipe super moist. So the crumbs are really easy to get off of the bread pan. Okay, so that's nice and greased, so we can put this off to the side and worry about it later. Okay, And go ahead and put that little brush out of the way. All right. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to make our oat flour if you're choosing to use oat flour. I love oat flour. I think it gives a really naturally more sweet taste than flour, so I get to use less sugar when I use oat flour. And oat flour is super healthy for you. It's gluten-free naturally. Now, you have to buy gluten-free oat flour or oats or oat flours because in the factories, sometimes they come into contact with things that have gluten, but the oats themselves are gluten-free. So if you have anyone who's gluten-free, oat flour is a great substitute. And it also has more nutrients. It has cholesterol lowering qualities. It also keeps your blood sugar levels lower. So oats and it has B vitamins and lots of other nutrients. So oat flour is a great way to add more nutrients. Everybody knows that oatmeal is a really healthy food for you. And so any benefits that you get from oatmeal, you're going to get from your oat flour too. So the other great thing about oat flour is you can make it yourself, and it's super cheap and super easy. So I'm going to choose to use a quarter cup. I'm going to use 1 cup of oat flour and 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour. In the recipe, it said you can use 1 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour or 2 cups of oats. So I'm going to use, and the reason that the oats it has more is because when they get grinded down, it gets smaller. So I'm going to use 1 cup of oats, and I'm going to stick it. It's going to be a little bit more than a cup. It's going to be like a heaping cup. So I'll show you exactly how much I'm going to do. So if you're going to use your oats, go ahead and follow what I'm going to do. So I'm going to stick my cup into the oat container. And remember, my hands are nice and clean. And you see how I have like a heaping cup? I'm not going to smooth my hand over there to measure it. I'm going to keep it like this. I'm going to dump it in. And I might even put a little bit more, just a little bit, tiny bit. It's not filled up, just a little bit at the bottom. I'm going to toss that in there. Because when the oats get grinded up, they get smaller and they take up less space. All right, so now we're ready. Wait till you see the magic of how to make oat flour. And it is not really magic at all. Okay, so I'm going to put the oats on the blender. Take the blender top. And now just blend it on high. And remember, you're not going to be able to really hear me when I blend it. So if you need to shake it around, you can shake it around a little bit. But you're going to see that these oats are going to become really, really fine flour soon, okay? So I'm going to start at like 3, just because I don't want it flying up. It's not wet, so it'll fall back down, but sometimes the oats get so tiny, tiny that they'll get stuck on the edge too, even though they're not wet. So I'm going to start on 3. Ready? Here I go. All right. Now I'm going to shake it around and then put it up to 5. Shake it, and now 5. I'm going to give it one last shake to get the oats at the bottom. And now I'm going to turn it on again at 5. All right. The other good thing about this banana bread is that it's kind of nice to get some chunks in there. So if you have like a piece of oat, like an oatmeal cookie kind of texture, it's still going to be delicious. Okay, so we have our 1 cup of oat flour, and so on the close-up you can see that it really turned into this like really fine flour. Do you see that? So we've made oat flour here. If you want it even finer, you can keep blending. If you're fine with this, you can stop here. I'm going to stop here because I like a few pieces of oats. All right, I'm going to put that to the side until we're ready for our oat flour. So we made oat flour. I'm going to use 3/4 cups of whole flour now. So it's up to you. If you want to do 1 3/4 cups of whole wheat flour, you can do that. You also can use white flour, but that's definitely not the healthiest decision that you can be making. So if you can use whole wheat flour, use whole wheat flour. If you want to use some oat flour in there too, that's a great idea. If you want to use all oat flour, then you can do 2 cups of oats in the blender, and you can use all oat flour, and it'll be delicious. Okay, so I'm going to move the flours out of the way, and we're going to keep on moving. And now we're at the point where we can start our real cooking. So we are going to now do our oil. So I have a third of a cup of oil here. So I'm going to show you up on the close-up. I'm using a measuring cup because I always show you guys the spoons of the measuring cups. I wanted to show you how you can also use like one of these measuring cups. So here I have 1/3. Now I'm moving, so the line's kind of moving, but so here's 1/3, and there's the oil. This is nice because every single cup is on here. So I have 1/3, 1/4, 2/3, and it goes up. So right here I have 1/3 of a cup of oil. So you're going to go to 1/3, and then you're going to put that into your bowl. So I'm going to pour it in. All right. All right, and now I'm done with my oil. Now I have a tip for you. Now we also are going to move next to 1/3 of a cup of honey, and that's going to go in there, and then we're going to whisk it together. So if you don't have a whisk, that's a good thing to go and get for our future recipes, but you don't need one. I'll also show you how you can use a fork. You just have to work a little bit harder. So here's my fork. Now here's a tip for when you're using honey. Now if you're going to see in here that I used a little bit of oil. It's kind of like a little bit. But so I greased the inside of my 1/3 of a cup measuring cup where I'm going to put my honey. Okay, so I put a little bit of oil in there because honey is so sticky. And I want to make sure I get everything that I measured into my cup. So when I put a little bit of oil into the 1/3 cup measuring cup, then the honey is going to come out a lot easier. So go ahead and take your honey. You're going to squeeze 1/3 of a cup in. Now, I've made this banana bread now twice, using less than 1/3 of a cup because I just like to see how healthy I can make it. So go ahead and use 1/3 of a cup if you think you need it that sweet, but I really encourage you to use a little bit less. I'll show you how mine's not going all the way to the 1/3 of a cup because bananas are so sweet. So if you look here, I really have more close to 1/4 cup. So if you want to use less honey, you definitely can. I wouldn't do less than 1/4 cup because I haven't tried it with less than 1/4 cup, but I'd say anywhere between 1/4 cup and 1/3 cup is good for you to use for your honey. Use as little as possible though. So watch, I'm going to pour it into here with the oil. And see how it just kind of fell out? And that's because we greased the inside of it. Let me show you how easy it comes out. It kind of just pulls right out there because we greased the inside of it with a little bit of oil. Now it's so much easier to clean too, and now all my honey ended up where it was supposed to be. Now this is when I'm going to show you how we can do this with our fork first, but then we can move to our whisk. So take your fork and mix around. This is for your whisking. This is instead of whisking. So you're going to take your fork and just really go in circles back and forth. And you're going to do the same thing if you're using a whisk. So let me show you with the whisk. I take my whisk and go like this. And now that should be like a little bit cloudy. Okay, so that's how you know that the honey's spread around because it made it a little bit cloudier. Okay, so we did that, and now we're gonna go to our eggs. So, I forgot to get my eggs out of the fridge. So anybody who needs to go get your eggs, go ahead and get them, and we're getting two eggs. Okay. 2 eggs. Crack one. And it's okay if you have to fish an eggshell out. Luckily there I did not get any eggshell in there, but I do get eggshell into my recipes sometimes, and it's okay. You just get it out as best as you can, and if you can't, there's really, as long as it's a small piece, then it's not going to hurt anybody. So don't get too upset if you do see an eggshell in there. It's okay. Try to get it out if you can, and if you can't, just keep cooking. Okay, so here's my eggs in there. I kind of poke them with the whisk, and then just spin them around as fast as I can, like that. And if you have your fork, you're going to do the same thing with the fork until it all is blended together. Okay, so now we have our eggs, we have our oil, we have our honey, and now we're going to go to our bananas. Okay, so I'm going to use the full 3 bananas because that's how I've been practicing it. And I think the more banana you have, the less sugar you need to use. And I also like my bread to be a little moist. So I'm going to peel my banana, and they're so ripe that this is just peeling right off. Okay, so I'm going to kind of break it up into pieces. That way I do a little bit of the work for the masher. Keep peeling my bananas. See that? The skin is just like falling off. Okay. I really like to eat bananas that are not so ripe, but when you're cooking, it's really good to have a very ripe banana. It makes it even sweeter. And the last banana. And remember, my hands are clean. I have washed my hands, and so it's okay for me to be using these. I'm not sticking my hands in my mouth while I'm cooking. And the people I'm cooking with are all in my family. So, got the banana peels, get those out of the way. And now you're at bananas. So, now I have my masher. I'm going to show you how you just take it and you push down. And you just do this over and over again, and then it mashes. Now, for those of you who do not have a masher, I'm going to show you how you just kind of get the banana against the side of the bowl, like this, and kind of just push down until it comes out of the fork, like that. See how it's mashing it? Now it's just a little bit more work. Not that much more work because it's so soft that it won't take you too long. So the masher, you just push down. If you wanted, you can do it in a food processor. Keep mashing. All right. Just a little bit more. Okay. And now we are going to put our bananas into our bowl. So I'm going to scoop it out. I like to get every bit of banana that I can. Okay, I'm going to move this bowl out of the way. And now I'm going to keep whisking. Whisk. Round and round and round. And this is like another opportunity to mash those bananas. Try and get those clumps. The more you whisk, the less clumps you'll have. But you know what? Try to imagine biting into your banana bread and getting like a little chunk of banana. That to me sounds delicious. So I get excited when I get the little banana chunks. So if you see some chunks, feel free to leave it. If you want to get them all, really hunt down every chunk of banana. Okay. And so now what we need to do is we need to add our 1/4 cup of milk. So we're going to get the 1/4 measured cup. So that's the 1/4. Okay, so go ahead and pour that out. So I'll show you how I'm going to be really, really careful. And accidents happen. Anna got to see me pour olive oil all over my counter when I was pouring it into the measuring cup, but thankfully nobody saw that, but it happens. So go ahead and pour this in. The whole wheat flour, if you're going to use whole wheat flour, you'll see I haven't gotten to that part yet, and I'll explain to you, but it's going to be, if you're using all whole wheat, it's going to be 1 3/4 cups. Okay, so now we have our milk, and we're going to blend that together. We are almost ready to put the flour in. If your flour's in here already, the oat flour, don't worry about it. It's fine. It might just be a little harder for you to whisk and cook and mix and stuff. So, but still try to cook it, and it might come out fine. It might come out a little clumpy. So we haven't put our flours in yet, though. If for everybody else, if your flour is in there, it's okay. Just keep going and just keep trying. Okay. So our next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put in a teaspoon of baking soda. So the baking soda, oh, Jared put it away. Oh no, here it is. I have a husband who's very helpful and cleans up for me, but I did not tell him that I needed this to stay out. So 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So watch how I'm gonna measure this. I'm dipping my spoon in, and then I'm gonna scrape it across the top. That way it's nice and level. So it's a 1 teaspoon, 1 TSP. If there's a B in it, it's too big, and you shouldn't use that one. Okay. So then you can go ahead in there and just dump it out. This is baking soda, not baking powder. They're two different things. So you want to make sure you have the baking soda. Okay. And you're going to use 1 teaspoon of the baking soda. All right. We're going to whisk that up again. And if anyone's deciding to use cinnamon, this went under an optional ingredient. You can use cinnamon if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. You can use more. You can go up to 1 teaspoon. I was using 1 teaspoon earlier. But I'm going to show you a decoration on here with the cinnamon. And because my bread, the cinnamon makes it dark, and so I wanted to see if my bread, if it's lighter, if I could see the decoration a little bit better. If not, that's fine, it still tastes delicious. All right, and last thing we need the teaspoon for is we need a little bit of salt, okay? So go ahead and grab your salt. So I need a half a teaspoon. I'm not going to fill it up. I don't want it to be heaping. I don't like too much salt in my dessert, so I have it like almost filled up to the top. So just near a half a teaspoon, not on top though. You don't want it to be too salty. Go ahead and put that in. And remember, TSP, no B in there. If there's a B in there, it's too much. And I'm going to move my teaspoons off to the side because I don't need them anymore. And whisk, 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 make sure it's all mixed in together because you do not want a chunk of salt randomly in your bread, do you? You want that to be spread out. Okay. Now we are done with our whisk. So go ahead, because there's egg on this, I would say just go ahead and put it right into the sink. You don't want that getting onto anything else. Okay, let me move my salt out of the way, my honey out of the way. And now we're ready for our flour. So I'm going to take my oat flour and I'm going to dump that right into here. There we go. Got a little bit around the edges, so I'm just going to take my finger around the blade very carefully. There we go. All right. Next step, we are ready for our flour, or whole wheat flour. So remember, if you're using whole wheat flour, you need a cup. Hi, Sabrini. We're going to need a cup and 3/4. If you use the oat flour and you used a cup of oat flour, then you're just going to do 3/4 cups of the whole wheat. So let me go ahead in here. Here's one. So we're going to need, I only have a 1 cup measuring cup. So I'm going to need to do 3 of these. So what I do is I put it in the bag, and then I kind of put my hand here and bring the cup against my hand so that it's nice and flat when I pull it out. See that? I'm going to dump it in. All right. I'm going to do the same thing where I go against my hand and pull it out. I'm going to show you another way that you can do it. Now this way is a little bit messier because you don't want to get too much flour into the bag. So what you can do is you can take a knife and go over it to make it smooth, or you can use your finger. I use my finger, but you can use whatever you want. You want to make sure your hands are clean. But so if you spread it over, you're going to go like this, and it's going to fall though. So you want to make sure you have it somewhere where it can be caught. So I'm going to put it over the bag, which might make it a little bit hard for you guys to see. There we go, perfect. I'm going to put it over the bag and go put it back in the bag. So here's the 1 cup. The 3/4 cups. This is the last 3/4 cup. Honey, you need to go to bed. Okay, go tell Daddy. Excuse me. All right, so we have our flour in our bowl now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mix it up. Now, how you're going to do it is you're going to mix. I like to mix up the flour and spread it around on top, and then start mixing it in. Go very soft at first because you don't want your flour splashing all over the place because it's like very dusty. So let me put this bag out of the way so you guys can see better. But we're just gonna turn around like this. Mix, mix, mix. Mix, mix, mix. It's a nice workout because this is a pretty thick batter in here. So I like to take the edge of the spoon and kind of grind against the edges so that I get all of the edge pieces, and then mix it down. Keep mixing. Mixing. And take a little smell. You can't taste it because there's raw egg in here, but you can smell it. And so if you want to put more cinnamon in, remember you can put up to a half a teaspoon more of cinnamon. But if you want to do a decoration on top, don't worry, we're going to add a little bit more cinnamon in there. Now I said earlier that in the ingredients that we sent out there, you could do add-ins. So if you wanted to do pecans, if you wanted to do walnuts, which Jared also put away. Very nice intentions, but now I have to go and find them, so hang on while I find those. Where are the walnuts? So that's when you want to put your add-ins though, and so just dump them in and you mix them up, and you want to make sure that they're spread evenly in there, okay? So now we're ready to dump our batter into our bread pan. If you're using muffins, what you're going to do is you're just going to take a spoon and just take a big scoop and put them into the muffin tins. And just go until they're kind of filled up 3/4 ways because they're gonna rise up higher. Okay, so go ahead and pour it into the bread pan. See that? I really like to get every last bit. I know that I've said that to you guys before, but I really hate to waste any batter, especially because it's egg. When it's not an egg batter, it's fine because I could just eat the batter out of the bowl if I want. But if it's egg in there, you don't want to be eating the batter because that's not so good for you. So I try to get all of it in if I can. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to be able to get. All right.
Can I watch Mommy do that?
Okay, now it's all in there. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna do like a cinnamon decoration. So I have tried this before with the cinnamon where it kind of just all got dumped in. My cinnamon comes out really, really fast. So if you have a cinnamon that kind of like sprinkles out, then you can go ahead and dump it in. What I'm gonna do is, and now because I was just holding an egg batter mixture, I am gonna use like a little spoon for it, but I'm gonna take a little spoon and I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle it on top like that. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. So I've kind of sprinkled it around like that. What we're gonna do is now we're gonna take a knife. This might actually be easier to see in the other view on top. But so what I'm gonna show you is we're gonna take a knife and kind of just drag down and then go back up the other way. And go down and up, down and up, and it kind of makes like zigzags or swirlies. So I'm gonna go up and down the other way too. You can do whatever decoration that you think looks good. I like to do these little swirlies. It's kind of like the tiramisu top. So that's kind of how I did mine. If I tilt it, it's going to fall out. So here is the zigzaggy mixture. I kind of like how that looks. Okay, so now we are ready to put our bread into the oven. Now remember to always use oven mitts when you're taking it out of the oven. When we're putting it in, it's all cool, so it's okay. So I'm gonna put it in. Oh, I can't wait to see how yours turn out. Put it in, and you're gonna set it to 55 minutes. Now people who did muffins, check on yours more often because they're smaller, so they're gonna cook faster. So I would make sure that you're dunking a knife in to see. So what you're looking for is when you dunk a knife in, you want it to come out without any batter on it. If it comes out and there's batter, it means it's still cooking. If you put it in and it comes out clean, it means it's all done. So you can periodically check and see if your muffins are ready. So for us, we're gonna set it to 55 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, your banana bread is done. So I'm gonna show you guys the banana bread that I made earlier because I know that none of you wanna sit and watch my oven for the next 55 minutes. So I made one earlier and it came out delicious. And so on the close-up, I can show you the cinnamon, the kind of cinnamon swirls that we made. This kind of, do you see how that came out? You can see the darker areas with the cinnamon, and it came out to be a delicious loaf. And Sydney has been waiting so patiently to get a bite. Yeah, what do you think? Do you want to take a taste? Yeah? Okay, let's get a knife. Watch your little fingers. Okay, Sydney and I are going to take a taste now. I let it cool off because this does get really, really hot. I'm excited to get to show you guys some. Since we couldn't find the walnuts, at least now you'll get to see some walnuts in the bread. Mmm, yum. Do you see those walnut pieces? Delish. Okay, Sid, are you excited? How was the banana bread before? Really good? There you go, take a bite, let's see. So good. You like it? Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't like it. Thumbs up, yay. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but 3-year-olds are the pickiest eaters. So Sydney gave a seal of approval, so I hope you guys like it too. Make sure that you send us your pictures. I absolutely love getting pictures of the food. We saw some frittatas from last week, and the guacamoles came out amazing. So please, please, please send your pictures when you're done with them. This was actually a request recipe, so please feel free to send in requests that you have. I don't cook with meat, so try to keep them clear of meat recipes, but if there's anything else, I could do my best to make sure that's something I could cook for you. I am going to try to make it as healthy as possible, so make sure you're sending in any recommendations that you want to see us do. And keep coming to see more classes. We have lots planned for the coming weeks. All right, thank you. Enjoy, and remember, send us your recipes. Eat your banana bread in 52 minutes.
All right, well, I hope you guys had a great time. If you were just watching, I hope you learned something. If you had your ingredients and you followed along, I can't wait for you to taste your banana bread in 52 minutes. And again, thank you so much for having us here. It was really nice to be able to share a class with you. And if you would like to learn more, just go to spiritclub.com, look out for this logo, and you will find us if you want to find more nutrition classes, healthy cooking classes, as well as all the different types of exercise and fitness classes like Zumba and boxing and yoga and fitness and cardio and strength. Then just check us out. And we'd love to learn more about you, whether you're an individual or an organization. We love to partner and share our classes with as many people as possible. So thank you again. For anybody who does want to join, we offer a pay what you can model, which means we let our members choose their price. So we never want cost to be a barrier. So thank you so much for welcoming us and for participating. Really nice to be here with you, and we can't wait to see you next time.